welcome back to Timeless Wisdom.
You know, those big questions like life and death and even creation, they've always fascinated people, right?
Absolutely.
And today we're going to look at how the Quran tackles these really profound concepts.
Okay.
Specifically, we're diving into verse 28. It gives a really unique perspective on how a creator fits into it all.
Interesting.
So what's really cool about this verse is how it starts. It asks this thought-provoking question. It says, how can you disbelieve in Allah when you were lifeless and he brought you to life?
Yeah.
And it's not actually asking for information.
Right.
It's more like a challenge almost. It makes you stop and think.
It's saying, hey, really think about this.
Right. It's a wake-up call.
Exactly. And what's so clever is it uses those undeniable things, life and death, to start a conversation about, well, a creator. Stuff we all get.
It's true. The idea of creation from nothing, it's hard to wrap your head around. But when the verse uses death as this proof, that's powerful. Absolutely. It's almost like it's saying, if humans were so smart, if we could actually make life, shouldn't we be able to stop death too? It's like a profound challenge, right? It says, if you possess the power to create and sustain life, then use it to prevent even one person from dying.
Wow. That's a tough one. It really shows you just how limited we are.
Totally. And the source, it has this beautiful way of putting it. It describes life as an interlude between two parentheses. With birth and death, those are the boundaries.
Right.
So the mystery of creation, it might always be a little mysterious, but God, he gives us these little glimpses into how it works.
Interesting. What are those glimpses? What can you tell us about the verses that actually describe the stages of creation?
Well, there are a bunch of verses in the Quran that paint a picture of it. 22.5, 23.1, 33.11, 23.14, and 38.72. They use all these fascinating images. They talk about creation starting from dust, then it goes to a drop of fluid, then a clinging mass. Then flesh and bones get covered with more flesh.
Wow.
And finally, God breathes his spirit into it all, and bam, it's alive.
It's amazing how they can describe something we haven't actually seen.
Right.
But we do see death, and the source, it uses death as evidence for this whole creation thing. How does that work?
That's a key point. To get it, we need to understand this idea of reverse order. Think of it like building a building. You build it from the ground up, but when you demolish it.
From the top down.
Exactly. Or think about a trip. That last mile to get where you're going, that's the first mile back.
Right.
So it's like there's this connection between how things are made and unmade and how life starts and finishes.
It's a really interesting way to think about it.
So if we take that idea, that reverse order thing, and think about life and death, it's like death is creation in reverse. The spirit leaves the body, that's the start. Then the body hardens, then it breaks down, turns into clay almost, and then back to dust.
Oh, I see. So death, something we all see, it happens in a way that backs up the creation story from the Quran. It's kind of like a secret code.
That's a great way to put it. It shows that everything is connected. It makes you think about the wisdom behind it all, but it points to something else, like humility.
Humility. What do you mean?
Well, when you think about how complex creation is, from dust to a drop of liquid to that clinging mass and then a whole human, a soul and everything, it's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
It reminds us that we're not the ones in control, not really. There's a higher power calling the shots.
That's a powerful thought, especially these days where everyone's all about individual success and control. It's good to remember there's something bigger than us.
Exactly. It's knowing our place. And when you realize that, it comes with responsibility. If we were created for a reason, it's on us to figure out what that is and live it.
So then the big question is, what does it mean to live a life with that purpose? How do we use this wisdom day to day?
It's about self-discovery, about growing. The Quran, it gives us guidelines, principles for a life that's meaningful, that's good. It talks about compassion, justice, honesty, striving to be the best we can be. It wants us to look inwards, connect with our Creator through prayer, through thinking deeply, and to do good in our communities.
It sounds like a way of life that covers everything, spiritual, emotional, social. It's not just about saving yourself, but living so that you make things better for everyone.
That's it. It's knowing we're all in this together, that what we do affects others. And there's so many ways to live this out every day.
I'd love to hear some examples. How can we actually make those teachings part of our lives?
Well, we can start by being more mindful. When we're eating, working, talking to people, we can be present, think about what we're doing. And gratitude, thinking about all the good things and thanking the people around us.
So it's like slowing down, appreciating right now instead of just rushing through life.
Exactly. And doing kind things for others, making it part of our routine, helping a neighbor, volunteering, donating, even small things. It's good for others and it feels good for us too.
Right. It's like that idea that we're all connected. Even small actions can make a difference, make the world a little bit kinder, a little bit more just.
Absolutely. And remember, it's a journey. It takes a lifetime. It's not about being perfect. It's about trying to be better, living in a way that feels true to who we are.
It's a powerful message. It's not about the end goal. It's about the journey, learning, growing, changing for the better. And the Quran, it gives us the map for that journey. It really does. It's amazing how these teachings, they're so old, but they still make so much sense today.
It shows you how true they are. They're like a guide to living a good life, no matter who you are or what's going on.
Totally. Speaking of that, learning these teachings and using them today, I think our listeners might want to check out The Broke Entrepreneur.
Oh yeah, definitely. They do an amazing job of connecting those old ideas with practical advice for dealing with life's challenges.
Exactly. They make that connection between spiritual growth and actually doing something. They give you insights and real strategies for success, both personal and professional.
Totally agree. If you're trying to live by these timeless teachings, their channel is the place to go.
So this has been, wow, a really eye-opening conversation. We looked at that powerful verse 28, we dug into the creation story, and we even saw how death kind of proves it. We connected it all to modern psychology and figured out how to use these teachings in our lives.
It's been a great journey for sure. What really stands out to me is how the Quran, it makes us think about these big questions. It pushes us to learn, to try and understand. It's about using our minds and our hearts to explore life and creation.
It's like a reminder that we never stop learning and growing. There's always something new to find, to understand, to make a part of who we are.
Exactly. And as we keep going, we got to hold on to that feeling of wonder, that curiosity, that need to learn and find wisdom wherever it is.
I couldn't agree more. Who knows what amazing things we'll discover along the way, right?
So we're going to wrap up our deep dive here. But before we go, I want to leave everyone with something powerful from the Quran. The Quran's wisdom is timeless. Apply it today.
That's perfect. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. Until next time.